My name is Livier Santana. I'm originally from the Chino Valley. I grew up in Chino. I went to Cal Poly Pomona, but we did a lot of things together with Claremont Colleges during the walkouts demonstration. I enjoyed all that time. I have been a teacher for over 40 years. I'm retired now. I just had a birthday in June. I just completed being 70. The secret to that longevity is movement. Just don't be afraid to move. I'm the one that gets up and gets the plates off the table or does the things, you know. So that's my secret. I've been dancing professionally with another group named Mexicapan, which was folklorico. From that, I went to danza. I've known Javier Galvez many years, and I encountered him when he was teaching here at Pitzer, or in the Claremont colleges. So it was a transition I made from folklorico to Aztec dancing, and it was a great transition for me. This got me in touch, even though folklorico got me in touch with the roots. This is a whole different atmosphere. It's very ceremonial, and I actually, when I dance, I feel myself transformed into another being, and I can actually feel myself at the base of pyramids or in other times. It's a very type of dancing. I was one of the very few women who also took a class in Puebla for the voladores de Papantla. So that's another very ceremonial and transformative type of activity. So I encourage all of you to keep moving, dancing. We are going to start our practices very soon. If you can connect with any kind of danzantes, we welcome anyone, everyone, of all ages. You'll be amazed at what you will learn. Javier is the type of director who breaks everything down, and you do a couple of performances and we throw you in there. And that's basically how you learn. So here he comes, and I'll let him take over. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Are you able to bring me, or should I take off my mask? ¿Me quito la máscara? Porque me la puedo quitar. Just kidding. Okay. All right. First of all, I wanna thank you for inviting us here today. It's been a while since I've been in the Claremont colleges. It's just that I was here a long time. ¿Todos entienden inglés o quieren que hable español también un poquito? Díganme.
Los dos.
Some of you in Spanish? No Spanish?
Los dos.
Poquito español? How many of you don't speak Spanish at all? How many of you don't speak English at all? How many of you don't speak Nahuatl at all? Most of you, huh? Okay, well, that's good. Anyway, my main job today here is to explain to you a little bit about the altar. Move over a little bit from the altar. Okay? And I'm gonna explain real brief the altar and also connect the altar and what we're gonna do here with what we did yesterday. Yesterday we did perform, we did dance, we did do all those things to begin the ceremony of the Dia de los Muertos. Actually, Dia de los Muertos is 1 and 2. And the reason is because they have one day for the older persons and one day for the children. So we have 2 days. And today, it's a great honor because I get a chance to talk to you about this. What you see here actually is what is done everywhere in Mexico. Everywhere. As a matter of fact, over there in Mexico, there's some places where the cemeteries, they have so many people there, it turns into a big party all night long. Party, food, drinks, everything. And now in the United States, they're starting to do that, okay? Because some of our danzantes are over there on the Hollywood, what they call Hollywood Forever or something like that, Hollywood Forever. Now they have turned into the whole cemetery into a big ceremony, a big party, just like in Mexico. Except in Mexico, there's some places where they go beyond that, okay? Not only do they build the altar, but they even go to the places where the people are buried. They take them out, they wash them, and they clean them, and then they put them back, and you're going back to the home. But they do that. And there's a difference between fearing death and remembering our people that have gone already ahead of us. A lot of people say, I don't understand why you do El Dia de los Muertos. How come you go and pray to the death, to death people or to? And we don't pray to them. We celebrate them because once they were here on earth with us, they were part of our lives. Eran parte de nuestras vidas, ¿verdad? Cuando estaban aquí en la tierra. Y nos dieron mucha alegría. They made us very happy. They made us very sad sometimes. But once they go, well, they're gone. People have different ideas about where they go. But one of the main things about the altar, okay, is it revolves around everything that we did yesterday and that we're doing today right here. El altar has to be actually with the philosophy. Señora, véngase para acá, porque le está tapando allá uno, si no me ven. All right. So anyway, I'm going to tell you, everything ties together. Everything. As a matter of fact, right here, the flowers that are right here, actually, what we're supposed to do with some of those flowers, here's what they do. What we usually do when we do other ones, okay? We get the flowers and some of them, all the little petals like this, we form a line all the way so that when people come in, they walk in between the flowers. And that's so that when the dead people come back to visit us, they find their way. See, because the flowers is yellow like the sun. Like the sun. And that little flower right there actually resembles the philosophy and the way of thinking of the old Mexicas, the old Aztecas, the old Toltecas, and I say to go as far as the old Olmecas, because they all went with the philosophy they live with the idea of the Aztec. You seen the Aztec calendar? Go get me an Aztec calendar. The Aztec calendar, all of you have seen it, right? Well, all their lives revolve around death, around life and death. And actually, they have, for example, this little flower, the story of the flower that I'm going to tell you, you'll see how it connects with what we did yesterday and what we're doing here today. What we did yesterday, we danced. I'm going to show you the way we dance. When we dance, this is the way we do the beginning of any dance. Any of the dances that we do, this is the way we do the beginning. La maestra Olivier right here, she's gonna do La Cruz. Only the cruz. Ready? Watch. Those of you that can see her feet, watch her feet, okay? It goes. Start dancing. Okay? If you were, some people are good at counting, but if you're not, that's all right. But what we did here was actually asking permission, but at the same time, watch the way. Before we do anything, we do this. We do La Cruz. La Cruz. Do La Cruz, el centro. Watch. The center of the cross, the left of the cross, the right of the cross, the back of the cross, the front of the cross, and tan, 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 tan. The left, the right, the back, the front, and tan, 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 tan. Una cruz. La Cruz was in Mexico many years before the Spaniards got here. Because when the Spaniards got here, they told our ancestors, you know what, you got it all wrong. La Cruz is like this. La Cruz. Not like this. So then, the old people, the old Aztecs and Mexicas, they were very bright people. They go, okay, suppose this is not the right cross, even though it's been with us for generations. Let me see, your cross is like this, right? Right. What happens if your cross turns like this? Well, that's not a cross. What if it turns like this? Well, that's not a cross either. What if it turns like this? Well, that's even worse. Okay? I said, let me tell you one thing. For us, la cruz es la cruz. like this. And if you turn it sideways, it's still La Cruz. Upside down is still the La Cruz. In other words, it's balance. Balance of nature. Balance of the universe. Balance of everything. And right here, you're going to see the part with a little flower. Okay? A ver, señora, traigan una flor, por favor. Una nomás. Un aplauso para la asistente que se convirtió en una azteca de un día para otro. ¿Verdad? Sí, one of the parents. Now, aquí está la flor. Actually, this little flower, the story goes that a long time ago, these two little kids grew up together. You know, when you're a little kid, you know, you play around, you do this and that, and then you run around. And sooner or later, they start kind of falling in love as the years went by. And they will walk all the way up to the hill, up to the top of the mountain. And they will take flowers to the god Tonatiuh. Dios, el sol, Tonatiuh. So then what happens is they went ahead and did they would give it to the sun, and then they promised each other. They said, let's promise each other that we would never leave each other. We would love each other forever. Okay, sounds good to me. So they were in love. And then one day, as tradition goes and as the history goes, the war came. And since the Aztecas and the Mexicas were pretty good at that, estaban bravos. ¿A cuánto vamos a pelear? ¿A dónde vamos a ir a pelear? So anyway, they went ahead, sent him to war. And usually when you send people to war, some people don't come back. Right? So the young man never came back. He died on a battle. So then the little girl, they gave her the news, and she was so sad. Se puso tan triste la muchachita porque mataron a su novio. And she went all the way up to the top of the mountain and said, come on, Tonatiuh, we brought you flowers all the time. Me and my boyfriend. By the way, her name was Xochitl. His name was a name that you will be connecting it with something else in the history of Mexico. I'll tell you later. But what happened is Tonatiuh said, you know what, hey, poor little girl. Felt sad for her. So then, since he had the power, and you know that the sun has a lot of power, as a matter of fact, without the sun, we would not be here, right? So the sun goes, le manda un rayo del sol. And it hits him on the cheek. The rays from the sun. And turns her into a flower. Then all of a sudden, the flower is there, and all of a sudden, this beautiful little bird, green little bird. The name of the person was Pitzer. Pitzer came by and landed right in the middle. And the flower became, the flower became the flower of the dead. Remember, they said it was 20 petals and the little bird. There's more than 20 here, right? But that's how the name came to be, from that little story. And Huitzil and Xochitl, this is what it became. What's the name of this flower? Do you guys remember? Somebody tell me. ¿Cómo? Muy bien. And actually what it is actually, it's Sempawal, means 20 in Nahuatl. Xochitl means flower. So the flower 25. But anyway, everything revolves around number 4. And right here on the altar, there's always has to be the 4 elements, main elements, which is what? Water, fire, right? Which are the other 2 elements? Somebody tell me. Which one?
Tierra.
Okay, and the other one?
Aire.
There you are. So much. Right. So there's 4 elements that have to be in the altar. But over here in this altar, since we don't have a table, I will just demonstrate it myself the way it's supposed to be, okay? Hold on. Hold on. Yeah. We need 4 little sticks that are sticking. And the 4 little sticks represent the cycle of life. When you're a baby, when you're a young man, when you're mature, and then when you're an older man. When you die, it's a 4, the cycle of 4. That's the way. The 4, we couldn't find 4 carrizos, so we had to find 4 little sticks. But anyway, that's the way it is. And that's the story of the flower. And all those 4 elements have to be included in all this. 4 elements, because the Aztecs and the Mexicas revolved their life around 4. 4. Remember they said there were 4 suns before the 5th sun? Yeah. But also in their count, when they say 20 petals, how many days are there in the calendar? There's 20. What a coincidence, huh? Huitzil, the sun, which represent also Huitzilopochtli. Huitzilopochtli, the God that told them from Aztlán, it's time to go. They say, Mexica, tiawi. Mexica, tiawi. Vámonos. It's time to go. And believe it or not, and some of you will be able to see it on my book later on, every 4 52-year cycles, there had to be a new drastic change. 1091 was the last cycle in Aztlán, and then they left. And then while they're traveling, they did 4 new fires on the way. And then when they were in Tenochtitlan with Tenoch, he celebrated the first new fire, and then the second new fire was celebrated by the next thing, and so on and so on. And the 4th fire was on 1507. And on 1507, they all had rumors saying, se acabó, the end is coming. And a few years later, it fell, right? Así terminó. Gracias por su atención y vamos a ver, ¿quieren?
Ya tienen que seguir.
Okay. Vamos a ver. Voy a dar el micrófono a la maestra.
Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias por el encuentro de hoy. Ahora vamos a dar la bienvenida a Maria Guerra. We're going to welcome Maria Guerra, who works here at Pitzer, who's going to lead us with the ceremony and the placement of the flowers.
Buenas tardes, gracias por haber venido. Mi nombre es Maria Guerra y cada año estoy aquí. Me da gusto de que estén. La flor significa que la pongas en el cuerpo de tu corazón por alguien que se fue. Gracias.
She's asking for community members at this time. She said, thank you so much for allowing her to continue this tradition as she has been doing annually. She is Maria Guerra, and she kindly asks each member of the community to please help join in the annual traditional process to think about a loved one that maybe has passed on, that has a significant meaning for you in your life, that is close to your heart, and from your heart to be able to place the flower here on the mat here today.
¡Ay, qué laureles tan verdes! ¡Qué cempasúchiles tan encendidos! Hoy con los danzantes del sol, LSU y mi Pitzer querido. Aquí unidos pa'l Día de los Muertos. Alza los ojos a verme si no estás comprometido.
¡Ay, ay, ay!
Eres mota de algodón que vives en el capullo. Ay, qué tristeza me da cuando te llenas de orgullo de ver a mi corazón enredado con el tuyo. Eres rosa de castillo que solo en Moyo se ve. Quisiera hacerte un invite, pero la verdad no sé si tienes quien te lo evite. Mejor me separaré. La bendición de Pitzer es la comunidad unida, y aquí se acaban cantando los versos de los laureles.
Maria asked me to come and say a few words, and for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jose Calderon. I'm a Pitzer professor. I'm retired, I think. I need to retire from retirement. I do teach a class every spring that takes students to live and work with the farm workers. But I want to let you know this is a very special day for me. My mother passed away on this day in 1993. She was 91 years old. I came to the U.S. at the age of 7 with my grandparents, and I didn't know that she was my grandmother and not my mother. And so that also is very special for me. But she died on this day. And the meaning of Dia de los Muertos for me has always been that in our family, my mother and my father, who were farm workers, they passed away, didn't know a word in English, always had an altar. And we always talked about that who passes away continues to live, and is very much, my mother, who was my grandmother, is very much alive in me. And if it wasn't for her, and if it wasn't for my grandfather Joaquin, I know I wouldn't be here today. And so that's the real meaning and the beauty of Dia de los Muertos. Halloween teaches us to be afraid of death. And Dia de los Muertos is really about not being afraid of death, but in fact celebrating death and celebrating all those that right now we can think of, whether they were our grandfather, our grandmother, our father, our mother, a son, a daughter, a brother, a sister. or just a friend. And today, especially, we remember those immigrants who have been trying to cross the border and are in Tijuana, those refugees from Haiti, some who have died on the way. We remember all those, and I have so many that have died from COVID. My wife's brother passed away within a week of COVID. And yet, at the same time, we remember all the beauty of the contributions that they gave. And I always remember when I arrived in La Paz and I met Cesar Chavez, and he said words that changed the rest of my life, and I've never forgotten. And he said, the only thing for sure in life is death. Every one of us who is here, we are going to die. We know that. And he said that between now and when you die, the question is, how are you going to use your life? You can easily throw it away on drugs, thinking that'll bring you happiness. Material things like money, and not what the indigenous people have taught us, the beauty of nature, and to be happy with what you have. The sky above, the sun that came out in the morning, the moon that comes out in the evening, the end of the day. If we find happiness in those things, but he said, if you really want to find meaning in your life, use your life for others, not just for yourself, not for greed. Use it for others. And when you get old, you'll look back on your life and you'll say, you know, I really used my life well. And I can honestly say that since that time when I heard him say that, I have used every minute, every hour, every week, every month, every year in that way. And if something were to happen to me tomorrow and I were to die, I could honestly say that what he said is true, that my life has been very meaningful. And so the real meaning then of Dia de los Muertos is not only to celebrate the death of others, but to think of all the contributions that they gave, and that those contributions are very much alive in all of us. And that the only time they really die, it is true, is when we forget them. That's when they really die. And so we're here today. I remember the last worker who died at the dining hall, Jose. And there's a little chair right behind the Grove House that has the name of all the dining hall workers that have passed away and the facilities workers. Y tenemos que poner más nombres. This year we have to add names to the plaque because they're all there. And that came out of the meaning of Dia de los Muertos, that we are not going to forget them because they gave so much. The last one era José, ¿verdad? Acordamos de José. Acordamos de todos los que han muerto, su esposo, que dio tanto al colegio. ¿Cuáles son los nombres de los que han muerto?
Cándida Valtierra, Josefina González, Yolanda Retes, Elías Serna, Percy, Martita de la Ferretería, Marcy, y algunos más, no me acuerdo ahorita.
And these are the workers that you see every day that bring food to your table. One of the tricks just to finish, one of the tricks I always used to use in my class in the first day is I would give them an exam. And on the exam would be a question: do you know the name of the person who cleans your dorm? Do you know the name of the person who feeds you in the dining hall? And there were some who did, but most did not. And this was after being in the cafeteria for quite a while. And so we not only learned that we have to remember those who have died, but we have to remember those who are we call the essential workers, who every day give so much to us so that we can live. And so today, that's the meaning of Dia de los Muertos for all of us. And I hope we take with us that meaning of remembering all the contributions of those who have passed that they live in us and then using our life in service to others, giving to others, and to care for others. Gracias, Maria.
Al presidente, a todos allá con Mar, a nuestras compañeras y a todos los estudiantes, a todos en las oficinas. Muchas gracias y que Dios los bendiga.